Today's goal is for you to be able to walk away from this video understanding what you get to do to be able to buy a home and how simple the process actually is. We're gonna cover a couple things. When to start the process, how simple the process of buying a home actually is, how to manage renovations, and the long-term mindset that goes along with owning a home. Starting the process just means finding out what you qualify for, what the monthly payments look like, what the down payment options are. What we're gonna do first is you're gonna take the day that you want keys and we're gonna count backwards 60 days. That is the absolute latest that you're gonna wanna talk with a lender, because the lender is gonna be the person that tells you what the down payment options are, what your monthly payment looks like, and what you qualify for in total. So that way you have all the important numbers and you know what direction you can move. Now, if you know you have perfect credit, very little debt, you've had solid income for the last few years, and you have money saved up, you can wait until about 60 days from when you want keys to talk with a lender. Most of our clients don't fit that image. They come to us with not perfect credit, a little bit of debt, they've changed jobs in the last few years, or they don't have a ton of money saved up. And so what they do is they apply 3 to 6 months before they want keys. This gives our lender the ability to give them a game plan to be able to qualify. And the sooner they apply, the less stressful it is and overall more enjoyable of a process it is for them. All right, so you're qualified, you have your down payment figured out. Now what's next? We're gonna do the process in 2 different ways. First, I'm gonna give you a summary, make it quick, simple, and efficient. And then I'm gonna go back through everything and do all the details, because if you're like me, you want all the details and all the nitty gritty in between. You're gonna get out shopping 6, 7, 8 weeks before you want keys. The real estate agent should be helping you find the right property, get an accepted offer, and from there, you're gonna be doing an initial deposit, something called an earnest money deposit, and it's usually about 1% of the purchase price. That money is protected, but we're gonna go into that later on. Almost immediately, you're gonna order a home inspection that makes sure that the property doesn't have lots of damage or issues that you can't see. About a weekend, the bank is gonna order something called an appraisal to make sure that we're not overpaying for a property. During this time, you're gonna be e-signing a bunch of documents for the lender and for the real estate agent. And about 30 days after you got that accepted offer, you're gonna be going into an office to sign everything that you signed online, but now in person in front of a notary. And shortly after, you're gonna be getting keys. That is about the home buying process in a nutshell. So you get an accepted offer, you do an initial deposit, you're gonna have a home inspection, you're gonna get appraisal, you're gonna sign some documents, then you're gonna go in and sign in person, and you get keys not long after that. Overall, pretty simple. But if you're like me, you want the nitty gritty, you want all the details in between, the next few minutes is gonna be for you guys that are like me. All right, we're gonna start shopping for a house about 45 to 60 days before you want keys. This gives us anywhere from about 2 to 4 weeks to find you the right house. By right house, I mean a house that you could be happy living in, but that is also gonna go up in value just by living in it. Once we get an accepted offer on that right property, we open escrow. Have you ever heard of that escrow word before? Most of us have and don't really know what it means. Escrow is literally just the process of buying a house. So you open escrow when you get an accepted offer, you close escrow when you're getting keys and everything is done. When you open escrow, there's something called an earnest money deposit, or EMD for short. This is a small deposit that's protected, but it lets the seller know, hey, I got some skin in the game. It's usually about 1% of the purchase price. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, expect a $3,000 earnest money deposit, give or take. And that money is protected a couple different ways that we're gonna go into. Home inspection is the first way that your money is protected. And it's how we make sure that we're not buying a property that has more work than what we're willing to do. The home inspection is gonna check all major items: AC, roofing, electrical, plumbing. They're gonna find every crack, chip, dent, and ding in the house. Forewarning, home inspector's job is to make the house look like it's falling apart. So it's always this weird thing, because you find a house you really like, you get all excited, you get a home inspection, and you're gonna get like a 50, 60 page report that has pictures and arrows, and it's gonna tell you everything that's wrong with the house. Most of it is not a big deal, like 99% of the time. The first time you see an inspection report, it is likely to scare you, and that's normal. An experienced real estate agent should help you figure out what to be worried about and what not to be worried about. We're gonna be focused on making sure that there's no big items that need major work, $5,000, $10,000 of damage to things like electrical, plumbing, roofing, air conditioning, that kind of stuff. If there is, we can ask the seller to fix it or give us a credit in lieu of repairs. Now, the seller doesn't have to agree, but often if it's health or safety related, it is a lot easier to get the seller to work with us on items like that. Now, if the seller doesn't want to work with us on it and it's a project that you don't want to take on, we can cancel, we can back out of this, and you get your earnest money deposit back. Now, hypothetically speaking, what happens more often than not is all comes back well with the inspection reports and we move forward. At that point, a couple days into that, the appraisal is going to be happening. And the appraisal is the second way that your earnest money deposit is protected. The appraiser is going to tell us what they value the property at to make sure that we're not overpaying for the house. The goal is that the appraisal comes in what we got the accepted offer at, if not higher, because that's always even better. Now, if the appraisal comes back and the home is valued at less than what we got an accepted offer at, we go back to the seller and we ask them to bring the accepted offer down to that price because that is all the bank is willing to loan up to. If the seller doesn't want to work with us on that and they don't want to lower the accepted offer price, that is then the second way our money is protected. We can back out and get your earnest money deposit back. The inspection and the appraisal are the two main hoops we get to jump through before we can get too excited about the house. We want to make sure that there's not major damage that we can't see, and we want to make sure that the appraisal comes back clean at the value that we got the accepted offer at. Inspection and appraisal are usually done within about 2 weeks. Most of the paperwork that you're gonna have to sign for the lender should be done, and you're gonna have a next about 7 to 10 days of just kind of quiet time. It's almost weird because you go from talking with your agent and the lender and signing paperwork every day, and it's just a lot of stuff going on, to like 10 days of where you're mostly done and there's just not a whole lot to do. But that means that you're 95% done. Now, the last 5 to 7 days, everything picks back up. The lender's usually gonna request a couple more documents from you. You'll submit those. The bank is gonna give us what we call a clear to close. That's just real estate talk for, they say, hey, thumbs up guys, let's get this wrapped up. You'll then go into an office to sign in person. You'll go to your bank to wire any final money. And shortly after, you'll get notified that you've closed escrow and you'll be getting keys to your new home. Are you still here with me after all of that? That was a lot. At this point, you're a homeowner, you're moving into the new home and you're getting settled in. If you're like most of us, you'll already have a list of things you want to fix, change, improve. If I could give one super helpful tip for improvements after you own a home, is to make a list. Place them in an order of importance and start only one project at a time. I swear, home projects always seem to take longer than expected. I can't tell you how many times I've watched a 10-minute YouTube video only for it to take me 10 hours and 2 trips to Home Depot. So plan accordingly, bite off only what you can chew, and if you don't know how much you can chew, take small bites at first. And it brings me to the last point, which is the long-term mindset that goes along with buying a home. What I mean by long-term mindset is understand that buying a house is not a get-rich-quick plan. It's a how do we make sure we're set up by 40, 50, 60 years old plan. Now, it's not as sexy as saying I made $100,000 working from my grandma's basement in 3 months, but it's a time-proven method that you can do over and over and over to make sure that you're financially secure by the time you're older and you have a place to call your own. Look at it as an investment you can live in. Buy with an analytical mindset, live in it for a few years, sell, make a large profit, and upgrade. That's all for today. If you made it to the end, that's pretty dope. You're awesome. If you're watching this on IG, follow us on YouTube. You can search Austin and Sam Las Vegas. You'll see our ugly mugs. If you're already on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. We're at The Other Las Vegas because we're always showing the local side of Las Vegas. Like, share, subscribe so we can keep making more content like this.